It makes you crazy because then you start thinking you're too much and you're too sensitive and all these things. And
And
so
then,
I went down
yeah.
all those rabbit holes over the last 10 years and I didn't have language for it. I tried to tell friends and family, oh, honey, that's just a man.
Hi, I'm with Chanda today. I'm so happy to see you. You have so much to share. Let's just dig in. How are you? What's going
Great.
on? And if you're new to this channel, we do talk about neurodiverse relationships. There are some comorbid issues. There's just this whole realm of traits, and every autistic person's different. And then there's also just simply sometimes relationships have that emotional neglect. That's what we're going to talk about. This is really, really important. How would you like to start?
I'll give a little synopsis of uh,
Okay,
what brought me to the topic and to you and my experience of it.
great.
I'm 39 years old. And I started experiencing what I would call this Cassandra phenomenon. When did I get married? In my 20s, early 20s.
Okay.
I had my first child at 27, and I actually experienced a traumatic pelvic rupture during childbirth. And that is really what kicked everything off.
Oh,
So I'm an engineer by trade, and I married another engineer. So even though I don't follow the typical engineer mold, he did. And but I was okay with that. I was like, okay, he's a little nerdy, doesn't talk that much, not has social emotional hiccups, no big deal. Like I can make up for that, right?
right.
And it worked enough.
Oh
There's
no.
always one of two things that tend to bring emotional issues out, and it's
Yeah.
either intimacy, getting closer in your relationship, or a
Mhm.
trauma,
Right.
everything right up to the surface. And that's exactly what happened. So with the birth of my daughter, it was incredibly traumatic. Basically, my pelvis split in half, ligament ruptured off the bone. He went into like the freeze response and
Yeah.
kind of shut down. And so I had to step up and be in the fight response and go into
Mhm.
survival mode. I feel like that just became the new norm of our
Oh wow.
relationship. And so
Oh
I dealt with that for like 10 years.
my
And
goodness.
I'm a pretty fast thinker. I'm a problem solver, and like
Right.
if there's a problem, I'll figure it out. And I wanted to know what was going on, what happened. Like I
Yeah.
knew he had some issues, but it
Right.
all just really magnified once there was something major to deal with. It was really emotional, actually.
I bet.
And so, yeah, it brought everything to light. And for years, I tried telling friends and family. I tried talking to them about what I was experiencing, what was going on, and how he was. Because, well, back then I didn't know anything about psychology, like anything. I was raised that you deal with your problems yourself, you don't go to a therapist, all that stuff. So I
Right.
didn't
Right.
know anything about anything. I didn't know what fight, flight, or freeze or fawn was. I didn't know any of that stuff. I've learned
Right.
so
Right.
much over the last decade.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Um, because of this thing. So that is one of
Hmm.
the benefits, the pros
It
of
throws us into psychology. It just, okay, you have to learn this stuff.
yes, yeah, for your own survival, like your own
Yeah.
peace and mental health. And so, yeah, I mean, I've essentially realized a lot. I realized a lot about myself, why I had kind of attracted that kind of a person. And
And in case someone doesn't know about fawning,
we used to just think of the sympathetic nervous system as fight, flight, or freeze. I forget the person that coined it. Sorry.
I'll look it up. We'll leave it
um,
below.
and I don't know when, but I mean, I learned about it probably 5 years ago, maybe. I don't remember, but
Right.
it's a way that we stay safe and that when we don't have agency or we don't have other options, either in childhood or even if it's a immediate reaction. So
Yes.
fawning is basically people pleasing. You can call
Completely.
it
Yeah.
codependency or people pleasing in order
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
yourself to stay safe
Hmm.
in a scary situation or a
Right.
power
Yeah.
authority situation.
Yeah.
I immediately go into fight slash fawn of like, it's all on me. I'll figure it out.
I'll just, yeah, keep the peace. Keep the peace.
Um, and
Right.
so, in that it's like an over functioning. It ends up turning kind of into easily into
Yeah.
functioning. And
Right.
It's a dynamic that we often deal with that I've heard this Cassandra thing called also is overfunctioning and underfunctioning. Like our neurodiverse partners are more underfunctioning and we are overfunctioning.
So,
And I've noticed a lot of people are calling the same just sort of polarity dynamics a bunch of different things,
I
empath,
know.
narcissist, overfunctioners and underfunctioners, neurodiverse and neurotypicals. Like it's really just a way
It's
to describe the polar opposites, the
yeah,
differences. Everything's a spectrum. The biggest thing for me was that I didn't have language. Like by the time I actually found this term, I really don't even know how. It's not like I knew what to call it and I Googled it. Somehow
it
it
just
went
fell
this
into
time
place.
and I was
Yeah,
like, what is this? But
yeah,
I cannot explain how validated I felt when,
yeah.
this was something that came across my plate. There was a couple things over the last several years,
Mhm,
even
mhm.
with narcissism, because that was really confusing too. Because I'm like, I didn't feel like my guy was very narcissist, like really classic
Yeah,
narcissist.
it doesn't fit the
But
box, all the boxes.
rigidity, like when
Right.
it turns into like narcissistic traits because you keep trying to go to them to get to be understood, to be seen, and to be heard, and all these things that you're trying so hard to get close to them and to feel the love
Yep.
and the connection. And
Yeah.
something's wrong, but like they either don't notice it or they don't care. You don't know what it is. Which one is it? Do you care? Do
Uh,
you not care? Or do you
right.
not like see what I see? Do you not feel
Yeah.
any? And it makes you crazy because then you start thinking you're too much and you're too sensitive and all these things. And so
And
I went down
yeah.
all those rabbit holes over the last 10 years and I didn't have language for it. I tried to tell friends and family. I got a lot of messaging still from friends and family of just like, oh, honey, that's just a man. And like, we can't have too high of expectations for him. And it's just a woman's job to carry the
Two.
emotional load. And, they, especially if he's an engineer or whatever, he's got, social emotional skills. He loves you. He just doesn't know how to show it and all these things. And I'm just like, this isn't my problem though. Okay, I can give him a diagnosis, I can give him a label, I can give him all these things all day long, but
Yeah.
that I'm over functioning for him. He
Right.
doesn't want to change, even if he wants to and doesn't know how. I
Right.
can't do that for him unless I drag him into therapy, which I tried doing. That didn't work either. So I tried everything under the sun. And finally, for me, I snapped out of it and realized, like, oh, I can only take care of me. I am
Yeah.
only responsible for me. And I need
Yeah.
to focus more on my happiness. And
Mhm.
if one day he gets it, then great. And if not,
Yeah.
I still have to figure out how to carry on
Yeah.
and co-parent with this person. So I
Right.
did end up getting a divorce.
Right.
Just to wrap up my summary real quick. 2022, the end of 2022.
Recent.
We split in 2019.
Okay. Yeah,
We
finally.
separated. And then, well, we were in different, he went to Japan and
Okay.
we were in different countries
Countries.
for a
Yeah.
while and then just kind of did our own thing and then finalized it when he got back. But
Finalize it. Okay. Okay.
so yes, I
And
still
that,
have to deal with him. We have two kids together. I still have to deal with
yeah.
him, parent with him. So those
Yeah.
issues are still there. And, my daughter is noticing them
Well,
loud and clear. But at least
and
she can notice. At least,
she can tell.
yeah,
And it's just important
something's
though.
wrong. She's like, Dad's, yeah, like she doesn't know the words necessarily, but she's like,
Right.
Dad's definitely like he does have ADHD, you know. And when we were dating, what's funny is I think they took this out of the DSM-5, but Asperger's.
Oh yeah, they
Dating, he
do.
had friends that
Would
um
say that.
yeah, they were like, yeah, they would joke, like, or some
Yeah.
coworkers, and oh, he's got Asperger's. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Joking thing. And we don't know what it is because mine joked about it right in the beginning. Oh yeah. Somebody he dated said I had Asperger's. And I said, oh no, no clue. Didn't even look it up. And it
Yeah.
was such a weird name. I was frustrated that they took it out of the DSM and clumped it with autism because now we have this uphill battle again.
Hmm.
It is so uniquely unique compared to, loving, sweet people that have autism. And even if it's mild or not, or look, even if it's very mild, there's still that other, like, Like I want to make it just this golden autistic person versus oh, this heavy person that has other issues along with it. But it's definitely there. But they
Hmm.
have it is a unique person compared to that loving autistic person. And
Yeah.
that's what's so hard to get across because now when we say autism, it's just put like, how dare you? He can't help it. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about us and needing support. And I won't go down my rabbit hole that I do with that.
That's where we get lost. We are all fawning. Like
Yep.
we care too much. We put too much of ourselves into helping them or helping the relationship.
And we don't
And
know
we're
also.
not helping ourselves enough, you know?
Right. Right.
And so I think that's what so many people are either going through or they need, or the steps that they haven't gone through yet of the slow
Hmm.
attachment to where they really start connecting more to themselves and getting to know themselves again, getting to love
Hmm.
themselves
Hmm.
again, finding themselves, different aspects of themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
And I want to go back because I know right away somebody might cringe and say, wait, I don't fawn. I don't do that. I'm just stuck in this situation. How did this
right.
happen?
Yeah.
And then what I think what causes us to start fawning is that baffling feeling that we just don't get what's going on. And we do, just as normal human beings, think that what are we doing? Because we have that emotional compass. And it's like, wait, maybe I didn't say it right. And you start to really doubt, you lose
Yes.
yourself in the confusion. That
That
can
is
happen
such a
to
great point. Such a
anybody.
great point.
Yeah. So it kind of
So
brings
that
us,
was, I'm so glad you brought it up because that's like, yeah, that's a whole segment, of that I've kind of forgotten about. I went down this rabbit hole of like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
mhm,
And yeah, maybe did have some fawning tendencies, but I did feel where I was always stuck. The whole attachment theory thing too, like, was
uh,
I securely attached before or am I anxiously attached?
uh,
For years, I've looped because I didn't feel like whether it was a therapist or a friend that might have been knowledgeable in the arena of psychology, I
yeah,
still feel like I'm like, no, I really did feel securely attached. I felt okay. I had little
yeah,
T trauma. I didn't have big T trauma. Like I
yeah,
felt good, more
right,
solid than what he does have big T trauma. He does have big childhood trauma.
right, right.
And so I was very confused about how did I attract this? Like I was trying to take on my full responsibility of the
Yeah.
equation and heal any anxious attached wounds that I had. So
Hmm.
it's been, a long journey for me. And I'm writing a book, about my healing journey because I felt like
Awesome.
I made myself more crazy, saying you're
Yeah,
fine, you're anxiously attached, whatever,
right.
because when I had a normal reaction to their instability, their
Right.
emotional instability to something.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was having a normal reaction to that. I had a normal expectation, healthy
Right.
expectation, and then it wasn't met. That's when things like fawning or an anxious attached
Exactly.
style develop.
It
So I
follows
think
it.
that's huge, really important to mention. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, it's a spectrum. Maybe, yeah, I admit I still might have some fawning tendencies
Of
or
course. I
had a
mean,
little
I,
bit before. I think as women
mhm.
in general,
We're
we're more caring, we're more conditioned to carry the
right.
load of
Right.
caring
Right.
and providing or caring for. And so
Yeah.
I think that easily comes up the moment something's wrong.
Right.
Our
Right.
radar goes up.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
intuitive beings as females, that's kind of our role is like, okay, we're sensing something's wrong. Our role
We
is to
need
bring
to
connection back,
for
get
our
connected
kids,
back
for our
together.
family. Yeah.
And so when something's wrong, that's when we're like, okay, spidey senses are up, let's fix this. And then we can't do anything with it, no matter how
No.
hard, how hard we try.
And that's when the overfunctioning comes. That's when the
Yes.
fawning comes. That's when we're just trying to hold everything together. And when you think of that whole term, holding things together, right away you're just heavy, like juggling. And you are within the midst of somebody with a brain, a mind that first thinks so differently from the autism and also has this flight and fright and trauma themselves from not, and there's so many reasons not being diagnosed ever, not being understood themselves, not being, they are just struggling themselves, trying to keep it together. But
Yeah.
it's very inward. It's very just their survival. That's what I've always felt because I have deep compassion for my partner, for anybody that goes But again, for us, it is just mind-boggling, and we end up getting the brunt of it, where they're kind of just doing their thing.
Yeah.
And
They're
because
not,
we're
it's like they're
women,
not as affected.
they're not as affected as we are in the relationship.
Right.
And that's the part where we forget, because if we do go down that road, I have deep compassion for him, understand what he's going through, but without my protection, I can't do anything about it. And we both crumble. And then to make the decision, to have that awareness and say, I'm not doing this anymore, and be able to separate and go on your own way. And then if you do decide to stay, just to understand that's what's going on. That's
Yes.
really one of two ways.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up too. I know for me, my path became very clear, and I
Mhm.
was clearly meant to walk away.
Yeah.
And I think that was best
Mhm.
all around for everyone. But I know that it's not that easy for everyone. It's not that simple, and there's
Right.
plenty of people that can't.
Yeah.
There's always options. There's still ways for you to come back to yourself and find
Yeah.
yourself, or even staying in the dynamic, and which you talk a lot about, as well.
Yeah.
You've had to deal with that yourself. So,
Yeah. I appreciate you and this interview right today, because so many just want to leave it. Okay, you've left him. I'm done. But in the process of being in that situation, we learned so much. Like you were saying, we learned so much about psychology that we never thought. You're doing this one thing, and all of a sudden you're a professional, pretty much. And so you want to help. And that's been my drive too. When I realized what was going on, and I feel like I have the time, it's so important to, you don't want people to suffer like we have by not knowing what is going on.
if I would have heard about it 10 years ago, because I feel like I just had to move on and just,
I
I mean,
know.
I did lose a lot of friends, and I am estranged from my family for a couple of different reasons, but that was one of them. That was a contributing thing. I felt so alone. Like I kept trying to be understood,
Yeah.
like that's a human, like, and then I
Yeah.
made myself feel bad about that, when that's a normal
Yeah.
human need. Oh, that was just, it was awful feeling from people that are supposed to love you, and then they do love you.
Yes. They just
I
can't
mean,
do it. And that goes back to the emotional neglect. That's the biggest part. So we're feeling it from our partners. But there is a deeper level of your family, your blood
yes,
family, the people you rely on, and now they're emotionally neglecting you.
yes, yes. Try to tell people, and then you're
Yeah.
misunderstood, or you're not heard, or
Yes.
they make you think you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's this
Yeah.
compounding thing where you had an
And they
original trauma and they deny your reality.
Yes. It's almost like going to this family member you love, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, they go right back to whatever the trauma was that was caused in that family dysfunction when you're trying to get help emotionally. It's this weird phenomenon. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden there's this disconnect. And I think it's just the confusion from them. They don't realize, they
Hmm.
don't understand. Nobody has the language. Nobody understands. And it's gotten better. Like, I'll come to people now and I'll say, oh, he's autistic. And right away, it's kind of this, oh, and then they're really, really helpful to him. But it's like, no, I need you to work with me here, especially trying to buy a house, because it's been really difficult. And I really need my realtor. I do. I need my realtor to know. I look for a realtor that understands the adult who has autism, who has mild. and you don't find that. I feel like I have to find people that understand, but people don't understand. And to get things to going, I'm losing my train of thought. I lost my train of thought because we are talking about family. I'm still healing from that because it was so hard. It's one of the most devastating things. Why the whole term Cassandra phenomenon and syndrome is out there is our family not listening. And I do feel like that isolation. So you get that isolation from your family because they don't understand. And maybe they're trying to help, like you were saying, he's just being a guy, everything's okay. They don't know the enormous, they don't
Burden.
know how extreme it is for us. They
Hmm.
can't fathom how extreme it is because, I mean, for one, you fell in love with this person. They look good on the outside. Everybody thinks they're great, and mine's very successful,
Yeah.
and they just think you're just going through a crisis. You're just
Marriage is
are
hard.
you what was that?
Marriage is hard.
Marriage is hard. Yeah. Or mine was like, Oh, menopause, you're going crazy because you're in menopause and you know, you're just stressed out and you're
Yeah.
you're getting older and he's fine.
Yeah. Mine was you
And
just
this
had a baby. And I'm like,
right.
this, I can notice the difference.
And we do,
Like
we
I,
notice.
or, yeah.
So, we're going down a very depressing road. How would we help someone? I know, because we've both just
It's
been,
good. It's good to relate. I mean, I still feel, even though I feel like I'm out of it, I still listen to stories and I'm like, yes, yes, I need a little bit of
yeah,
validation.
it does.
Relational. Yeah.
It takes a while to heal, even when we're out of it. And I have lost family forever. I know that I was going through something in the beginning and it just compounded it. So that isolation I felt with him, here I am dealing with family trauma with my parents passing away and my aunt. It was just this whole mess in my family. And then on top of that, to try to come to them and say, oh, I'm going through this. Well, they just think it's all me. Well, you're just traumatized. You're just this. And so they start to push those buttons. They know you and they know you when you were little. They know you at this stage. A lot of family members still see us as kids. If they're older, if we go to them for, they still see us as me. It was, oh, this only child. Oh, Diana, she's too emotional and she's so flighty and all that. It's like, so they don't really see you as you right now in the present moment with this person and this very devastating situation you've come into.
Yeah.
And
And
yours was, you said compounded by the trauma when you had your child and how horrible and you need family support then.
right.
And then you just lose them. It's a compiled double trauma. Yeah, it's really, really, it's hard.
For some people, it's their families, their loved ones, they don't want to see them hurting.
Yep.
So, they're denying your reality because they're having a hard time accepting
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Hmm.
Or they don't have any tools to give you. Or, they don't have a solution to give you. And so they don't know how to just be there and
Hmm.
offer
Well,
the emotional support that you're not getting, that you're complaining about, that you're not getting from, your partner. And then you start to
yeah.
realize you're not getting it from them either. And yeah.
Yeah, we need a therapist. We need somebody that knows how to talk to us in a way that it not, you know, just person who doesn't understand that and how to react. There's so much out there about, I learned how to say from Brene Brown, never say at least. Well, at least you have this. At least you have that. So I learned that, other people aren't going to worry about that stuff. They're just living their life. Like
Yeah.
your family's just doing their thing. They're not given that. They don't
It's
need it.
invalidating. Yeah.
All of a sudden we're asking for it. I need you to be this way for me. And they just absolutely can't. And that's the part where I was able to forgive them because at the time I couldn't understand. I think there was some neglect from my family for sure that was rude and not kind and dysfunctional. But then there were the ones that just were trying to help and they just didn't know. They were going to say everything wrong no matter what.
Yeah. Sheer ignorance.
They just didn't know. Yeah. So that's the emotional neglect. Whether they mean it or not, it's still painful. It still affects you. It still hurts you. It sends you down a deeper, darker hole. And you have to crawl out of it yourself.
Yeah.
And what you were doing is just finding information and the validation is what you need. And you start
Yeah.
to, all of my friends are Cassandra sisters now. Like it, and
Nice.
I'm not sad about that. I think we're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I was going to mention is therapy is good for initially and for a while, and it's necessary, but then we still want
Yeah.
friends. We want humans, normal people in our lives that we're not paying to talk to about this. We want to be able to pick up the phone and call a friend and talk about something like this. That's not this long emotional dumping session, but it's just this
Just
somebody
somebody
that
that gets it.
gets it's just yeah, it's just empathy. It's normal
Yeah.
empathy.
The
And
normal.
I think everybody deserves that. And we
Yeah.
have there are those of us I say that need it more than others or that are just naturally more inclined to
Yeah.
operate that way and to give that to other people. But I think that's why we get matched with the opposite people
Mhm.
that don't have it, that need it,
I know that's a good point. That's why one thing Deborah Lawrence said, and I talk about Deborah Lawrence a lot. I love her. I did an interview with her. It's the dark side of autism. She has a UK group and she's from the UK. And she said, therapists are prone to meeting these guys. It seems like, or the emotionally intelligent, or the opposites attract, or they see something in us they wish they had, and then we kind of, I don't know why. For me, I was attracted to my partner because he was so much fun. It was just
Yeah.
it's what I needed at the time. You just don't know, and then kind of all the quirky, all the stuff, just you don't know, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really hit you until you live with them or have that commitment. We
Yeah.
really don't see it. And that's when we're blindsided.
Yeah.
Dear. I mean, mine was my knight in shining armor. And then all of a sudden his horse died and his armor cracked. And it's like, what the heck?
I think that there's all these comorbidities or whatever, all of these intertwined things that are happening
Yeah.
that a lot of people can relate to the
Sure.
experience left over,
Mm-hmm.
whether they have an official diagnosis or not, or whether they're just on a scale, whether it's narcissism, autism,
Yeah. Yeah.
any of
Yeah.
it.
And the
And
support here, and what I'm offering is really everything that goes with it, not only the autism, the comorbidities, the difficult relationships where you just not understood. And I always keep true to the Cassandra syndrome is specific to us, that is combined with the narcissist. That was a slip, is combined with the autism and the different traits, because we really you don't feel that Cassandra syndrome seep in if they only have narcissism, if they only have a personality disorder, if they only have, those are really truly different. When I talk to women, when there's no autism involved, it is very uniquely different.
Mhm.
And they'll still try to say, oh, he's bipolar. Oh, he's narcissist. Our guy truly doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's
And
heartbreaking.
that's the difference. And that's
Heartbreaking.
what makes it so heartbreaking. That's what makes it so hard to leave them. It's hard enough. We may fall in love with somebody who just has narcissism. We still have a place in our heart for them, even though they're nasty, because we fell in love. We have that place that we have to deny and see reality. But with our guys, that place is he can't help it.
Yeah.
Makes it so much harder when we have to learn, just brutally learn to take care of ourselves and absolutely leave, detach, or do what we can to understand it if we're staying.
For me, I was terrified of becoming them,
Yes.
being selfish, of
Yep.
being narcissistic or overly egotistical, overly self-centered,
Hmm.
only thinking of myself. But for me, I know I have experienced, I had to personally go through a bit of that.
Yeah.
It's a detachment. I love numbers. I'm an engineer and I
Yeah.
love, so I always use analogy with numbers. So I like to just think of it as like -2 to +2.
Okay.
Like you have the zero in the middle and you're moving
Right.
from -2 to +2, which is
Right.
healthy, authentic connection, but you're detaching from dysfunctional, unhealthy, connection.
Yes.
With connection, the energy of the two is about connection, two things coming together. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how
Yeah.
I view that. You gotta detach, go through the negative one, which is kind of the narcissism, egotism, and get to the zero, and
Uh-huh.
then to balance it out to get to the
Oh,
healthy connection. So that's how I've always seen it.
wait, I'm having a hard time understanding. So the negative
So imagine
two
a -2
is
to
you
positive
find
2
out
scale.
what they are. Why is the -1 narcissism?
Just
What?
so the energies of the one is just an individual, one.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like a shadow and a light, or a negative and a positive
Okay.
to
You're too smart for me.
any of the numbers. So polarity, think of you have the light and the dark, the negative and
Okay.
the positive. And
Right.
so the energy of the one is just one person, us
Okay.
by ourselves. The dark side of that, right, is narcissism, where you're
Gotcha.
overly egotistical, overly thinking about yourself, only about
Yes.
yourself, not about other people.
Right.
And so that's the dark or the negative one side
Yeah.
of
Gotcha.
that. And then
Gotcha.
the positive one would be more balanced,
Just
just it,
balanced.
yeah.
Balance. And then the healthy is the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then because -2, like it represents dysfunctional connection or codependency, like tied to
Exactly.
somebody, almost like enmeshment, like you're glued.
Enmeshment.
No,
Yeah.
you're not connected, you're codependent on them and you cannot
Yeah.
leave. cannot
Right.
detach.
Right.
That's the sort of spectrum. It's like, okay, let's sort of let's balance this out. And so to balance it out, you have to switch roles. Regardless of what they're going to do, you
Uh-huh.
have to move through a healthy sense of narcissism, a healthy sense of ego, of self,
Gotcha.
in order to balance out and find the healthy connection again.
Yeah, you feel selfish doing that. You have to go through
Exactly.
that
Yes.
road. It is one of the paths to get there. I'm so glad oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah, you have to be, get so excited. So I find that makes so much sense. You do. You have to go through that part of thinking of yourself only. And
Yeah.
it's scary. And I went through that thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'm a narcissist. And so you go through that, you have to get to that place. They disrupt your whole self so much that all of a sudden you have to take charge. And then it gets into the demands where you feel like the word demand is bad. I've had to do ultimatums. All those are bad words. Demands are bad words in a relationship. Ultimatums are bad words in a relationship. But during that time, you have to be that kind of that narcissistic traits in order to get through that hump, to solidify your boundaries, that they do finally follow them if you're staying with them. It's taken me years for him to stop overstepping my boundaries. It just, for him, he just takes forever to process it, to understand, oh, I can't do that with Diana. I had one breakthrough or milestone with him just the other day. He actually knew to not cross that boundary that I set years ago. It took a while. Oh,
Wow.
that's the thing. It takes so long.
Like another kid. It's like
It
having
is. It is.
another kid.
You have to, yeah, you have to do that with kids and just say, no, if you don't do this, you don't, and it just makes you feel so ridiculous sometimes. You just feel like, wait, this is my partner. I'm not his mom.
Right,
This is
right.
not, but it does take that. We just have to, our relationships are drastically different than the norm. He's not just being a guy. We're
Yeah,
not crazy. And we have to look at it different. There's no Hallmark movie to show us that this is okay when we have to do these things.
maybe
It's
one
not
day.
that we're manipulating them. It's not that we're doing those things, that they're not that purposeful narcissistic trait that we think it is. We are just getting things to work smoothly so we don't have to keep over functioning. That has to stop. Yeah, we go through that narcissistic phase. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's true.
And I
Good
don't know,
analogy. Took me
I
a minute.
this is how my brain works, just like two-dimensional, linear still. You can't take the engineer out of me.
It's
So,
nice. Love it.
but
You
maybe
know
one,
right away. What if somebody thinks, oh, well, she's an engineer, she must be autistic? What
yeah,
do you
yeah,
say to
yeah.
that? Have you ever,
Nobody's ever said that to me
because I mean,
when
I
they
don't
meet
see,
me. Yeah, they meet me and they're like, "Oh no, no, she's definitely not." Like, she's not.
you can be an engineer and not be autistic.
Well, there are tons of female. I mean, I'm a female engineer, and there's a group
Yeah.
for us. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are some females
Right.
for sure that
Of
are,
course,
but
because
no,
it's a very easy profession to go into for
yes,
somebody who is very linear, that word, black and
linear.
white thinking.
I realized on my healing journey that one of the biggest reasons I was attracted to that, like everything for me was tied to trauma. Like there was a reason I wasn't naturally inclined to be an engineer.
Oh,
I love solving problems and problem solver, but I mean, it was hard for me. I am not naturally inclined to think that way. People are like, you're so smart. I'm really just determined. I'm really just really determined and
yeah.
like memorize and study and,
Yeah.
but like I'm not inherently naturally smart like my ex-husband was.
You have to work hard on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, I realized like through unpacking so much over the last decade of healing, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, it makes so much sense as to why I picked engineering. And it
Uh,
does have a lot to do with trauma, with emotional neglect. Like it's almost
oh,
a trauma response in and of itself to go into the black and white thinking. When
right. That makes
you
sense.
don't have solutions or answers for the gray
Yeah,
area and nobody will meet you there,
right.
you like conform
Yeah.
to a linear or two-dimensional or black and white reality. It was like a safe place for me. And then
Wow.
when I was 8, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism when I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so that, I mean, I don't know how many of your people on the channel are spiritual, but that's basically at the location of the throat chakra. And really, what I had found for me was at the root of that was that I didn't feel safe to speak my truth.
Sure.
And my body turned inward and shut down. So
Hmm.
it stopped functioning to try to get my attention that I needed to fix that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's just still part of my healing. But that combined with, yeah, just the general, I think I was always just inclined to navigate the gray area and, to be more emotional, but the people around me were not, you know,
Right.
very more black and white. I mean, everybody was in survival mode, rightfully so. I didn't come from money, and people were just doing everything they could to work hard, put food on the table, keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
You have a focus, reach this, got to make sure my family is fed,
Yeah.
clothed. There's
That's all you
no
have time for.
time for emotions. For me, it was like a trauma response of like, well, okay, this is how the world works. So
Yeah.
I will conform and be really good at this.
Yes. Yes.
One of the symptoms of hypothyroidism, especially when you're little, is
Mhm.
you struggle with reading comprehension. And so
Okay.
being in like third grade, when that's when you're learning about reading
Yeah.
comprehension,
Yeah.
it just like wasn't clicking. It was like that side of my brain did not compute. So I became really good at math.
Uh-huh.
I overcompensated and became really good at math. And that
Ah.
also led into the whole engineering thing.
Yeah.
So all of it was like an overcompensation.
Yeah. And it's so amazing. You really get it. You really get why you've done things and why and I was thinking of opening up a can of worms while you were talking about people with autism will go through that where they have to mask, and it's from the trauma of
Yeah.
people not understanding. And it's from
Mhm.
and I think all of us as humans go through that bit of trauma where we're not given the tools for our specific gifts.
Yeah.
For maybe we are more emotionally intelligent than our family, but if our family are a certain way, that's what
We have to fit in to survive.
we do. And then if you're just trying to get through this world, so many people right now are struggling financially, even more so than ever. And you go through this trauma. My dad was a depression era baby. And so he kept everything. His trauma was he didn't throw anything away. I mean, my goodness, he was like a hoarder because of that
Mhm.
trauma. We're affected so much by these traumas, and we don't have the guidance in the beginning.
The physical things
Us.
that we end up doing to try to soothe the emotional
Yes,
pain.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You get into a career because you've masked. Are you really happy there? And
right.
so you spend your whole life just not doing, I keep thinking about how grateful I am to my partner that he is financially stable where I can have the time to do this and not work as much because I do have physical pain that I
Mhm.
deal with. I can't work a full-time job very easily. And then I can do things like YouTube. And I'm so grateful to him for that, just to have the time and to learn more about yourself. We don't have enough time
Yeah,
to heal, to take care of ourselves and what our needs are and what are we emotionally inclined to, physically, spiritually inclined to. We don't get to follow that path so often because we're on just survival. And it's
yeah.
just kind of this tragedy of being human and getting through this life. Like, you're amazing. I'm so glad we met.
I love
Yes.
diving deep.
And see, and here you are an engineer. See, isn't that, come on. And you explained it so well that that's what made you feel. I had this, and this kind of gets overly personal, but I do that. Dumbing myself down because my mom was looked at like the perfect mom and I felt for years, I still go through it. I still catch myself that I have to dumb myself down for people to like me. And it just nobody likes somebody like that because then you're in this take care of me
Yeah.
which I did for a long time because then I feel like they'll like me better if something's wrong with me. Isn't that crazy? I think of it now like that happens.
Again, I think it's just tied to us being afraid of being like a narcissist, like somebody that is really egotistical and
Yeah,
overly about themselves and
on
wanting to impress and
by
needing
women.
coming from
Right.
shame and insecurity. And a deep, that's where they're coming from with it, but like trying to overcompensate for feeling that way.
Yes.
So somebody being in their, especially a woman, being in their healthy
Yeah.
authority and healthy power, being
Hmm.
empowered and self-loving,
Yep.
unfortunately today is still viewed as,
Yep.
bitch. I don't know what I can say on here, but being that, or being just is
Yeah.
being too much, being too bossy,
Uh-huh.
all
Oh,
these things. And so we're just so afraid to really own our healthy self-love and empowerment.
and it gets through. And I think this, we've really talked about emotional neglect. And I was thinking how we're neglecting ourselves of that
Yeah,
emotion. We
exactly.
are, because we have to be a certain way. Women have to be men in order to succeed. We're still there. We keep thinking, no, we've got it now. Women have come such a far way, but we really are given this extra piece that is not healthy. And we're told we have to be it's okay for a man to be a jerk or them to be narcissist in a way that it's okay. And then we are called something bad if we are.
Hmm.
And
And
it's
we,
still very much like that.
the generations are helping.
They're helping. It's
Uh,
getting better. And I want to mention this because I am 55 and you're younger.
mhm.
I'm old. Gosh, I'm 15 years older. That sucks.
I feel like
No.
Benjamin Button, though. I feel like I'm aging backwards. I was older when I was younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think
But
I'm the,
anyway, my point, like we're in a Cassandra window where awareness is coming. So hopefully this will dissipate and we'll start to understand are men this specific type of guy. But still, even you're younger, it's still in the 30s that women
mhm,
are still struggling. Even in the
mhm.
20s, I have even talked to women. It's devastating to me because it is so new to really start understanding this. So there's just thousands upon thousands of us still struggling and suffering so much. Because I did start for a while, I started to think maybe it's the 40, 50, right? We've been with them a while. They were never diagnosed. No,
Right.
no. And just hearing from you, and then I've heard just it's not as many, but we're there. We're struggling, not understanding. There's still these boys and some girls, but we focus on the men. They're born, they're not given the tools, they're not understanding. I think of Helen Keller when she was allowed to just do whatever. And then the therapist came in and said, no, you're not to do that. And a lot of times our men just kind of get to do whatever. And then they're kicked out of school or they become naughty. And mine had that happen to him, was just kind of left adrift because he was difficult to deal with.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's where the comorbidities come in for him to survive. A good person, born a good person, he had autism, but the world just shaped him because there just wasn't that understanding. And that's what's so
Yeah.
tragic. And it's still happening because we don't have the understanding.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
oof, that's gets deep. But here we are talking about it, and that's really good. We didn't know this a few years ago.
I know. So
So
refreshing to find your channel. Like I said, even after I feel like I got over it, I was like, oh, I guess I wasn't, because this was so validating when I
well,
found it.
thanks.
So I'm happy to
Thank
finally
you.
be talking about it. Uh,
Oh, thank
yeah.
you. I'm so glad you found me. It stays with you because you're not able to talk it out. Our healing
Right.
is talking about it. Our healing, Deborah Lawrence said this, our healing is talking about it. So if you just say, hey, I can't do this, I'm leaving him, you still don't have that community, that sisterhood to say, hey, everything you went through is valid. We understand, we get it, we need each other. Even though you're far past it, it's there
It's
in you.
real,
You've
real
experienced
empathy.
it.
Real
It's real
empathy
empathy.
is what everybody needs to heal from
I know.
trauma, which is what
Yeah.
it's emotional trauma. What
Yeah.
we deal with is an emotional trauma. And so needing real empathy is the antidote,
Hmm.
it's a
Hmm.
solution. So,
Yeah. Well, with that, because that's a beautiful last, is there anything else you'd like to add? And also, I want you to tell us what you can do to help women like us to help, because I know that you're a wonderful teacher and
yeah.
healer yourself.
Yes, after all of this,
Yeah.
after the last 10 years. One day, my
Good.
book will be published, one day, and that I thought was going to be published in
It's
2019.
supposed to be published 2 years ago.
So, yeah, I now am basically an intuitive life coach.
Okay.
Uh, I essentially help women get back in touch with their emotions and their intuition,
Right.
and some men. But those are the two pieces of the puzzle, is how I like to phrase it,
Okay.
that I feel like are missing in
Uh-huh.
the
Uh-huh.
world and specifically in our bodies within each individual. These are energies that I believe we have neglected within ourselves. And if we bring these back and learn how to operate again with our emotional body and our intuitive body, it really changes the game, really gets you
Yeah.
back to your feeling safe within your body again and empowered to work through all the layers of trauma that we all have from just being.
Why haven't I booked an appointment with you yet?
Don't know. My calendar's open, but only for a couple more weeks.
Oh,
For
and do
anybody
you
that
want to
doesn't
share?
know, I'm 37 weeks pregnant, so
Oh my gosh.
with number
Gosh, you're
three.
ready to pop.
So yes, I have a little bit of time left, and then I don't know when I'll be
Okay.
back.
People could be listening to this months from now anyway.
Mhm.
So just if you want to contact Chanda, definitely I'll leave information below. And just, even if you have to get on the waiting list, I think you're amazing. Just from this talk right now, I am going to book an appointment. So I have to do it quick before you before you pop. All right. Well, take care and thanks for being here.